And it is so good to be back. Please, let's welcome all our guest filmmakers from the local Heroes Shorts Program 1. Come on down, everyone. Thank you all so much for being with us. For those of you who are going to sneak out, don't forget to vote. The one thing you have to do is make sure to cast those ballots. We have 3 mics to share between what will be a lot of guests. Warm round of applause for our guests. And they will continue to stream down and take their place at the front. Everyone just get together. How exciting is it to have this much talent here locally, either from here or living with us right now? Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I'm going to ask all of you, we're going to start at the other end, to take a moment to introduce yourself, your film, and what your role was on the film and the program.
I'm Dan Krivenki. I was the editor on the last one you saw here, The Choir of Man.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cindi Szymanski, producer on The Big Comeback, The Choir of Man at Playhouse Square.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carolyn Greene. I am the co-producer and main character in East 100th Street in CEDAR.
Hi, I'm Carl Kriss. I'm the director of 100th and CEDAR.
Hi, Eli Manos, director of Murderer.
Hi, I'm Brian Scott Steele, the writer-director of In the Event of My Death.
Hi, I'm Nick Cavalier, director of KASAMA.
Hi, I'm Dale Omori. I'm a writer and director of American Dinner.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Conrad Miles. I'm the director of Free.
I'm Jessy. I was the editor, and I was in Free.
And my name's Mike, and I was one of the producers of Free.
I'm going to ask them all to answer a question from me first, and then I will open it up to you. So, the question for each of you is either what led to the making of the film, the inspiration for the film, or how did you come to be involved in the making of the film? And we'll start with Mike and work the other way this time.
So this was, we made this for, the Russo brothers did a competition called No Sleep Till Film Fest, and it was very much like a 48-hour film competition, and I think at first, like, we weren't really going to do it, but we had a team member, Zach, who now lives in Atlanta, who really kind of pushed us to do it, and so we, you know, we did it. Yeah.
Sounds about right. That was pretty much it.
Sorry, I wish there was more to it. Yeah.
All right. Let's hand the mic down to Dale.
For American Dinner, there's a couple things that came together. One of them was kind of the rise in anti-Asian violence over the last couple of years. I never really thought about my heritage that much. Quite honestly, I grew up in this little town, northwest Ohio, and we're the only Asian family, and we looked at ourselves like, you know, just like any other family, except for our food was a little weird at times. But and then you know, my sister-in-law had that story she told me about her researches in Cincinnati, and so I ended up writing this little essay, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, you know, it's really good." And so it was encouraging, and so I just thought, well, I'll try and turn it into a film. So thanks for watching that little haiku. That's what I call it.
So I lived in Chicago for many years, moving from Cleveland to west, basically. And I met them through some mutual friends, KASAMA, Jeannie and Tim, when they were still working in another restaurant. And they had told me they were going to try to open that place, and this was in 2017, 18. And when they went to do it, it was like the beginning of 19 and to get funding. And as soon as the pandemic hit, I lost a year's worth of work myself. And so I reached out to them, and this was really just a labor of love. I'm also a huge food fan, and I work in food. I've worked with a lot of chefs and in food, and I saw how hard the restaurant industry was hit. And so that was sort of the catalyst for this, like an American dream underdog story, which is, you know, what I do really well, I think. So I was very, it was just like a perfect fit. It felt like serendipity in the universe, right?
For me, I just have a lot of creative friends who aren't really able to do what they love creatively. Like the three leads are friends of mine in the film, and I just missed filmmaking myself. I work in post-production, editing, assistant editing, and yeah, we just all wanted to do something creative together because we miss it so much, and so that was basically the result of it. And I love movies about friendship, and I love movies about family. So, you know, that was the basis of where it started.
So the main character, also known as the salad enthusiast in Murderer, was my brother Sean. And in 2020, my brother Sean and I, we were living together, and in about December of 2020, we both got COVID. So we were both just kind of together, and we sort of just came up with this idea because Sean is working professionally as an actor, and so he did an audition, and he does a lot of different auditions for commercials and different film gigs, and one of the ones he had to do was, it was for some kind of plant commercial, and he had to pretend to basically hold a plant, but he couldn't actually have a plant in the audition, so he had to pretend to hold it, and then pretend to like caress it really happily and everything. And we were just cracking up, and then one of the lines he said after one of the takes was just, "I'm gonna turn you into salad." And we just lost our minds. We thought it was hilarious. And we just sort of decided, let's just make something, because we didn't know how long we were gonna be in quarantine for. And so we got a couple of house plants from Home Depot, and we just decided to make something, and we just had a blast doing it, and we just wanted to make something. We know that the last couple of years have been really, really hard, to say the least, and we just wanted to make something really fun and silly for everyone to enjoy. So thank you.
So again, somebody saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. I never thought it would be this. I met Carl. They featured me on a news channel because of the work that I do in the community. And I was out giving lunches and food out of my truck. And so they featured me, and Carl was the photographer. And he saw something in me, and now we're here. Yeah.
So we've gotten in the habit at Playhouse Square over the years of calling our dear friends at Think Media Studios anytime something big is going to happen. We started with our 90th anniversary, and if you all remember when we hung the giant chandelier outside, we called them again. And so we knew that reopening the largest performing arts center in the country, this side of the Hudson, after a 15-month closure, completely dark, would be pretty special. And we knew that we were reopening as one of the first arts and entertainment activities to come back. And so we felt we better get this on film.
All right, it is your turn, audience. Throw a hand up. Sometimes it is hard to see, especially up there, but please throw up your hand and let's start asking some questions from you. I have more. I always have more, but they really want to hear from you. So don't be shy. Yes. Over there. Go ahead. Yep.
I agree with you. And I was going to ask you what my vision probably is not Cleveland Clinic's vision. I envision that it should be more community programs and community buildings in our area to support the people that live in that area. And so that was what I would vision. Well, when they hired me, I told them, truth is truth. I'm standing for the truth. I'm not on nobody's side. Right is right. And so you're in the community, businesses in the community, everybody should contribute that as a community.
Yes, sir. In the middle there.
Oh yeah. You mean the performance at the end of my film? Yes, they are. So the female lead, the sister of the guy who died, she wrote the music for the performance. She's a singer that I met in Los Angeles. I grew up near Cleveland, but I live in Los Angeles now for work. And so she wrote the music, and I knew both of them separately. Those are two friends of mine I knew separately, and I knew they had amazing voices, and I was like, I wonder what they would sound together. That was another little thing that I didn't initially think I was going to put in the movie, but then I was like, well, I have to. If they're going to be in it, they have to sing together. So that just became a part of it. Thanks.
Yes, over there.
Yeah, they gave us a prompt. So they gave a general prompt for everybody, and I can't really remember what it was specifically, but yeah, it's like something in our reality and then change it or rethink it or reimagine it. And we spent like a few hours just trying to think of stuff, and we're like, well, it feels like everything costs money, and what if we take that a step further and literally everything costs something and you're allotted a certain amount of credits or whatever per day. So basically it was just that everything that person does throughout the day, they have to pay for. Yeah, so it's just kind of just taking twist on like feeling like everything is, nothing is free, but then at the end there is stuff that's free. Kindness.
I see you up there.
Commercial, actually. You can find anything on YouTube. So you can find anything on YouTube, and that's an actual commercial. So.
Yes, back there.
It's in Chicago. It's in Ukrainian Village in Chicago, and actually Jeannie and Tim grew up a block from that restaurant, so kind of a special thing for them.
Yes, sir.
Well, that I do not know. The the lettuce I ate was actually, funny enough, that was the first time I ate a salad, was for the romaine lettuce. Yeah, and we just found some lettuce and we thought that made enough sense. So it can be completely ambiguous that maybe it wasn't Rupert and maybe it was something else. So it's up to your interpretation.
Yes.
So, funny enough, Rupert is still alive. Roy, unfortunately, died. Which I think makes sense because he did fall off of a filing cabinet. So, yeah. But no, we still have Rupert. Yeah.
Who's next? Go ahead. So let's talk about either something that went wrong or maybe a challenge you faced that you didn't expect.
Yeah, so, hello? Yeah. We had a deadline because it was 48 hours, and I was editing it, and then probably like 45 minutes before it was due, my program crashed, and then I lost like half of what I had put together, so I had to like quickly like throw everything together, and we like literally submitted it within minutes to spare, and if we had gone like a minute over, we would have been disqualified, so it was pretty scary. So.
Well, as you can see, my films are kind of homemade, basically, so a lot of things go wrong. I think the most challenging part was getting the bounce of the Spam off the cutting board. I think we had like 3 cans, and I think we said, okay, third one must be a charm. So, but other than that, you know, it's like, you know, anytime you're doing anything with your family, to me, that's a big challenge right there. I think so. I didn't show my dad until like really like 2 weeks ago. I didn't know how he'd take it. He's a pretty proud guy, and, you know, and of course they're Asian, so I think the only thing he said was, "Oh, well done."
For me, it was a lot of technical stuff. As you can see at the credit list at the end, it was pretty short, small team. So, I mean, and because of the pandemic, we stripped everything back, and everyone was working on with their own passion and gear behind it. So I didn't have like, you know, a big crew to move lights around and everything. So the time crunch was our biggest challenge. The shot coverage we had and the production value we were going for was like really difficult. Also, they were still figuring out the menu when we were shooting. So I actually just found out today that they got a Michelin star today. But that was a process for them, you know, to arrive at the food. So when we shot the beauty shots, they weren't necessarily what the menu is now. So I think that was we had to go and reshoot a couple days to get the menu right. So
I'm trying to think of a good, so we shot the majority of my film in Seattle. That's where a lot of the actors live, but I did shoot in Ohio as well. As you could tell, like Dog Heaven was Huron actually. But that was a very fun day, and I do remember checking the weather. Great, no rain, nothing. It's gonna be sunny, beautiful, 80 degrees. And of course, just a flash thunderstorm happened. And oh, I should have began with, I brought all my neighbors' dogs out. They were all there, just like helping out, and they were running back and forth. But yeah, it poured and everybody left. And then I was left with like the last dog. And as a little, I guess, secret is that a lot of those dogs were comped in later that last shot. So they weren't actually there. Only the dog that the character was holding was in the original footage.
that's amazing.
So for ours, it's interesting because we kind of made ours in the span of roughly 2 days. And so, yeah, and so I think our hardest one, because I was very new, I'm still very new to directing, and I was used to slightly bigger crews, so I'd never really worked a camera professionally before on that set. So kind of I guess the hardest thing for us was just kind of trying to figure out, because we still really wanted it to look really, really good. We didn't want to shoot it on our phone or anything. We wanted to make it look as close to professional as 2 guys quarantined in a house with house plants would look. Yeah, so I guess that was kind of our hardest thing, was just trying to figure out how to do it with the limitations we had.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of mics. Yeah, so something that was unexpected for us was Carolyn getting hired by the Cleveland Clinic. We had no idea that would happen. And so that made the story a lot more interesting. And I think for us, it helped us kind of figure out where we wanted the story to go and how we wanted to end with Carolyn, you know, now being able to be a bridge between the community and the clinic. So we didn't plan that out, and it I think helped make the film a little bit more interesting.
So our big challenge actually appeared in the film. So as we were planning to film the big comeback, we were supposed to dip in on the boys, as we lovingly referred to the cast, here and there throughout rehearsals, and we all started, did their passports come back today? Did their passports come back today? So when you see us interviewing Nick Dudson, the creator, the boys are actually in the air, and he is waiting for them to land during that interview. They landed at 8:30 at night on June 4th. The next day, We vaccinated them. 2 days later, is when that full rehearsal was shot. The next day is when we came to stick cameras in their faces. And so instead of having some time to get to know them before we did that, when you see Dennis, Lem, Tom, and Miles being interviewed, that is the first time we are meeting them, jet-lagged, just vaccinated, trying to get the show up, and we're there shoving cameras in their faces.
All right. Thank you all so very much. I don't want to let you go yet. One more thing. We have a big crew, and this might take a minute, but you know, you're all artists in our community, so we would really like to know what's next. What are the future projects you're working on before we let you go? Let's start at that end and work our way back. Yep, everybody.
I have something different every day at work. I have some future, we're working on some original content, which I can't really announce yet. It's a big, hopefully a feature-length documentary. And I wish I could tell you more, but from Think Media Studios, hopefully you'll see something from us in the future.
So for the Choir of Man, they were actually had a run on the West End that just closed. They were nominated for an Olivier Award. They will be back on the West End in October, which is really exciting for them. Most of the boys that you saw in the film are part of that cast. Actually, Dennis, white t-shirt, man bun, is now doing social media for Playhouse Square, I'm really happy to say. For Playhouse Square, we are getting ready to announce our 22-23 Broadway series on Tuesday. And we are also in the midst of planning for our 100th anniversary of our historic theaters, one of which you are sitting in right now.
I'm going forward. I'm going forward. I done got my feet wet. I think this is something that I really like doing. I'm looking forward to doing some podcasts and still some community work. And I'm following Chris.
Yeah, I guess I might do a documentary about a graffiti artist in Fairfax. We'll see if that ends up happening. I might do a YouTube series with Carolyn's son, Carl, whose name is also Carl, spelled the same way, about people in Cleveland. So that's something we just started talking about, but we might do that.
So I mainly work as a film composer, so I'm always getting a bunch of new projects all the time. I guess from my own projects, it's a little early to say too many details, but I'm starting production on a feature film that's going to be an experimental psychological horror film. So yeah. There may be plants in it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. As for scoring projects, there's actually a couple of feature films that I'm just about finishing up scoring that are going to premiere soon in Cleveland. One's called Don't Shoot the Piano Man, and another one is a horror film called Eleanor. So keep an eye out for. I know that Don't Shoot the Piano Man is going to premiere at the Atlas Theater, I believe, in Lakeshore Boulevard, and the one in Euclid. So keep an eye out for that. So it'll be cool.
Hold it closer around.
I'm writing a feature with a friend, and I'm always sort of thinking of other shorts and other features that I want to do. But mainly I work in post-production, so a lot of editing and assistant editing work. Working on a feature at Blumhouse Productions right now, and that'll be in theaters in January, but I'm not going to plug that. So.
So the mutual friend I mentioned that introduced us is a comedian. Her name's Jade Catapretta, And in 2018, I went to Brazil with her for her to do stand-up in her hometown of Sao Paulo, Brazil, in Portuguese for the first time. So we're working on a feature for that for 3 years. So I'm hoping to finish that up this year. And I'm also trying to get a feature or a docuseries off the ground for Paso Robles, which is a wine region in the central coast of California. So.
You know, I'll just shamelessly promote. We have one other short that we have in Thursday's lineup for Local Heroes 2. It's about the Kent State shooting, so if you can catch that, you might like that. As far as future projects go, my co-director, Arlen Spector, who helped me on American Heartbreak, the one on Thursday, we're both, I consider us newspaper refugees. We both worked for the Plain Dealer for many, many years. And I think we're thinking of doing a project on kind of the changing landscape of local news. And so we're just kind of, it's in the very formative stages, that's what I'll say. So.
Well, I'm working on a couple projects at the moment, but personal project, working on this new scripted short film with a bunch of my friends, and I think it's going to be really great. It's called Someday, so yeah.
I have a couple scripts that I'm currently pitching around and hoping to get funding for. One of them is a feature that would shoot here. One of them is about the competitive world of hobby horse. And then I'm shooting a movie in Atlanta at the end of next month.
So my day job, I work with the Greater Cleveland Film Commission. We are very proud to say that in 2 weeks, the LeBron James biopic starts filming here. So it's called Shooting Stars. It's a Universal project. And then for myself, I have been long at the works of a feature-length documentary about underground filmmaker Robert Banks from Cleveland, Ohio. So hopefully going to have that done next year, I promise.
All right, before I let you go and before we give them a big final round of applause, somebody handed me a note with a suggestion, and I want to address it so that it's not just left unaddressed. The idea of possibly putting these films on a DVD or something and selling them to benefit the festival. There are so many complications with trying to do that with this many different films. However, what we do already do, and are continuing to expand for both of you, is we do something on our website called CIFF46 Streams. Because most short films eventually end up on YouTube or some non-paywall, eventually. It might be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And as long as they share the link with us, we add it to our website so that you can find their film and see it and share it with others. So while we're not trying to raise money or anything with that, there is a way. So continue to look at our website, CIFF46 Streams. And you guys, please share those links and let us know when you have films that have been here, and we will put them up and share them so that they can get back out to this crowd. Now, having said that, let's thank these incredible, talented filmmakers for being with us. Thank you so much for being a part of our community and a part of our festival. Don't forget to vote. Your votes are important, so use those ballots. Have a great festival night. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks, guys.